What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Next Success. I'm Skylar Beitendorp.
And I'm Adam Bastian.
Today we're going to talk about knowing what you want, why it's important to know what you want, how to know what you want, and I don't know, the power that comes from knowing what you want. So I'm going to start it off with a quote that I found. It says, "One half of knowing what you want is knowing what you must give up before you get it." What does that mean to you?
My first thought was sacrifice.
Mhm.
I'll put my laptop down. Say that quote one more time.
Yeah, so it's one half of knowing what you want is knowing what you must give up before you get it.
Yeah, I mean, I know, like, nothing worth having, in my opinion, is free. Like, it's not gonna just show up because you want it,
Yeah.
and it's not just gonna be there without any work put in to get it. And so, my first, I guess I have what comes to mind. So a couple years ago, I was trying to find a phone to buy, and I had my mind set on one phone. I can't remember what it was. It was some like LG phone or something like that.
Yeah.
And I went to Best Buy and I researched it and I checked it out and I got to handle it. And then I would go home and I would research all these other phones on the internet. And I'm like, okay, and figure out what's going on. Like, what phone do I want? And I figured this out. It was like the Moto G Play or something like that. It was a pretty budget phone, but it was like, for what you paid for it, you got a lot. And so I went to Best Buy to go buy this phone. And so I go to Best Buy and I pick up the phone and I'm looking at it and I'm like, this is the one I want. But then I start looking at the other ones, the other Moto G phones. And then there was I think it was a G7, which was it was like the full model, the next step up from from like the Play. And so then I pick up the Play and then I pick up the G7. And the G7 was like, it was a little more money and it had a lot more to it. And I was like, this one's a nice phone. This one's nicer than the one I wanted, but it costs more and I have to sacrifice more for it, or I have to pay more money for it. And I was like, oh man, I don't know. So I ended up deciding to buy the Play because I was like, it's cheaper, whatever. That's what I wanted in the first place. And so I bought the phone and then I leave Best Buy and I just had this feeling. It was like, you bought the wrong phone, man. And I was like, what? And I just felt horrible. Like my whole being, my soul was hurting. It was like, you bought the wrong phone. It was like, are you seriously going to pass up a better phone because you didn't want to pay more money for it? Something that will give you more happiness than this? And I thought about it and I just like stopped and I was like, man, this is dumb. I was like, I can't believe I'm going through this. It's about a phone. It's stupid. So eventually I turned around and I went back to Best Buy and I returned the phone that I bought. And I didn't like break any of the seals, so they just gave me like a full refund. And it was like 10 minutes later.
Sweet.
And I was like, actually, I want to get the better one. And they're like, well, it does cost like $80 more or something like that. And I was like, yeah, I want to get it. And I bought the new phone, and then I leave Best Buy, and I felt good. And then I had this thought come to me, and it was like, why would you settle for less if you just needed to sacrifice a little bit more to get the better thing? And I think about that now, and I thought I knew what I wanted. Well, I knew what I wanted, but I was settling for less because it was harder to get what I wanted. And it costed more for me, and I would lose more in the now, not in the future. And so now, I think about that with like relationships, or I think about that with jobs. Like why would you settle for less for something now if all you have to do is sacrifice a little bit more of yourself to get the better thing? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so, even though it was with the phone, I learned a valuable lesson that sometimes you just need the sacrifice to get what you want.
Sacrifice.
Like,
yeah.
That's important. It's not free.
Mm-hmm.
Don't settle for less if you don't have to.
Oh, and I feel like, yeah, it was a little more for that phone. And if you would have just gone with the cheaper phone and, decided not to do it, you probably would have had that regret that you didn't get exactly what you wanted down the road just for paying a little more. I feel like that would have stuck with you for a long time, knowing, oh, I knew what I wanted and I settled.
Yeah.
I think that can haunt me sometimes, knowing I wanted something different than what I got.
And all it did was hurt my wallet.
Yeah, you can make more money. Can always make more money. But also, anyone listening, be smart financially at the same time. There's a balance there. That reminds me of a story similar that I went through. So I got my first car when I was 21. Got a 2004 Mustang.
Oh,
it was dope. It was manual. I couldn't even drive it home, actually.
Sexy.
And my dad had to drive it home, and then I practiced manual for 2 weeks before I would take it on the road. But anyways, sold that, and then I was like, okay, because I made some money on it, and I wanted to get a nicer one. And I went and test drove probably 6 different Mustangs before I found the one I wanted. And once I found it, it was like a silver 2011, and it was awesome. And I went and drove it 2 or 3 times, and I went in, brought my friends, and I was like, this is what I want. And the salesman was excited to get a sale that day, and I have the papers. I signed one thing, and I'm about to sign the paper that says, this is my car, give me the loan, I'm taking it. And something stops me, and I just look up at him. I'm like, I can't do this. I have 4 of my friends here, and I'm just like, sorry guys, I do not feel good about this car. I know it's what I want, but there's something about it. I can't do it. And it was the next day or later that week, I found a different one, and it was the color I wanted. The other one was good color, but wasn't exactly what I wanted. And it ended up being the exactly what I needed too. And so I got it and went and bought it the day of, the day I went and saw it. We made a deal, shook hands, I picked it up the next day. And I know I would have regret because I knew the other car was what I wanted, but I knew inside that it wasn't the right thing for me. And I ended up buying that car, and I sold it for more later on. And so I didn't actually lose anything on it either. So it was financially, it was a good decision. It was fun. And I got even more clear on what I wanted in a car from owning that one, which I probably would have learned that with the other one too. But I don't know. It's kind of got to trust yourself. Listen to that voice inside you, knowing hey, this is settling, or this isn't what you want, or this isn't what's good for you. So kind of a wild thing. I was signing the papers. I was like, I can't do it.
That is pretty crazy. But I think it just goes to show that figuring out what you want, I think requires, you got to experience. You don't just figure it out overnight.
Right.
I think one of the best things you can do to figure out what you want is figure out what you don't want.
Agreed.
And what that means is you have to go out and you have to do things you've never done. Meet people you've never met before. Have relationships you never thought you'd ever have. And I don't know. I'm if you've never talked to a girl that's 6'5", you don't know if you like girls that are 6'5".
Right. You don't know what you want. It's you got to experience things. You got to try new things in order to get what you want, which and this drives me nuts with some people that get married really young, probably because I did that and it didn't turn out great. So I think there's a little more passion behind this. But when people get married really young and they don't date multiple people and really figure out what they want in life and who they are and where they're going, drives me nuts when they get married at 20, 21. Even anything under 25, I'm I feel people are still growing and still discovering who they are and figuring out what they want. But yeah, if you just date one person, how are you going to know if you would like someone else more? Or, that saying, there's what flavor of ice cream do you like the most, or whatever that saying goes. You've heard that, right?
I don't think I have.
Oh,
no.
It basically goes, so all the people will apply it to dating. And they're like, oh, this is a good flavor of ice cream,
But it's the only one they've tried?
but it's the only one you've
Oh,
tried.
okay.
So like, go try some other flavors because there's a lot of different ones. There's sherbet, there's strawberry, there's chocolate, peanut butter.
Yeah, you got to try them all.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was one thing my mom told me when I was a kid is she just said, date everybody. And I was like, what?
What?
It's like, oh, my mom told me to, you know?
Yeah.
But the older I get, the more I realize that that's true. Like, you got to date everybody to figure out who you want.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that regard, and you never know. And sometimes you'll date somebody or you'll go like, I mean, this is with anything, like guns, cars, jobs. Like you'll have a job, you'll date somebody, you'll have something, and then you'll move on and you'll keep trying new things. And then you'll realize that that's really what you wanted, which was that person you dated a year ago or 3 years ago, that type of person. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't know that because you didn't know anything any better at the time.
Right.
But then the more experience you get, the more you realize that, yeah, that's really who I am. Like that's what I want to be. That's what I want to do with my life. And I stand firmly behind that. Like I used to be like, well, if you like never go back to something you dropped or never, you know, or a person
Yeah.
you. But what if you were wrong? And I'm realizing that I'm wrong a lot. And so sometimes I need to go back and kind of bring back things I used to be. Because that's really who I am. And that's really what I want to be.
Right. Well, and you won't know if that's the thing you want. Like you never would realize like, oh, that's actually what I really want and value.
If you never left.
If you never left. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Daggum!
No, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotta like the more life experience we get, I think the more clear I get on what I want my life to look like and what I want 10 years, 5 years to look like, the next 5 to look like for me.
Yeah.
And there's like, for me, there's so much power that comes in like knowing what I want, and the clearer I get on what I want my life to look like. Because when I know what I want, it's so easy. Like let's say in dating, when I know what I want, it's so easy to say no to dates. It's so easy to not waste time on the wrong person, on someone else's wife, because I know what I want. And I know that person's a great person, but it's not what I want. Or
Yeah.
career-wise. Like if I know what I want to do and where I want to be in 5 years, the kind of money I want to make, what I want to be doing to make it, it's so easy to say no to the job to, I don't know, for whatever it may be, whatever job it is, working at UPS, working at the ice cream store.
Yeah, you know, to each their own.
To each their own, right? And there's no right or wrong in that, but when you know what you want, it makes it easy to say no and to not waste time on the wrong thing.
Yeah, I agree. That was good. That was good. Well, it's like I've been thinking about like consequences lately too, and I think when you have a goal or when you know what you want to go, you know where you want to be, you kind of have an idea what the consequences will be. If I do this, this will happen. Like if I get this job, it will teach me to do this. Then this skill that I've learned at this job will help me get another job with what I want to do. And so you kind of know the consequences, not entirely, but you have an idea of what will happen.
Right.
But I feel like if you don't and you just jump into things, you're not thinking about the consequences. And I mean, you don't get to choose the consequences regardless of any action you do. Like you get to make the choices, but you never get to choose the consequences of those choices. So you'll make a choice, you'll act, and then something bad will happen because you don't really know what you're getting yourself into. Like you were saying with like people getting married super, super young, which isn't bad.
Right. It works out for a lot of people.
Yeah. But
a lot of people it doesn't.
But for some people, and statistically, it's not good.
Yeah.
And but they jump into something they don't know anything really about. They don't know the person. They don't. And I've never been married or been close to ever getting married. So
yeah.
So I mean, what do I know? Just a boy. But
Me too, man. I'm still learning too.
But it's like they jump into it and they don't know the consequences of what will happen. And I'm not saying they weren't thinking about it, but
Yeah. And I think like we talk a lot about consequences, like they're always bad things. I think it just
no, they're
the
good.
consequences just means the aftermath, like whatever
Yeah.
happens after. The consequence for eating healthy and working out is you're gonna look shredded, dude.
Yeah, man.
Or you eat ice cream late at night, and a lot of it right before you go to bed. The consequence will probably be, and I'm saying this because this happened last night. I woke up feeling like trash.
Oh
I was like,
man.
my stomach, that ice cream's not loving me back. And so, yeah, consequences are just the aftermath. They can be good, or they can be bad. But something I've been taught to do, I don't know. I think everyone's been taught this, but do like if you're trying to decide between two things that you want, because I think that's a hard part for me sometimes is when there's two things that are great and I want them both. And I don't know, have you ever done like a pros and cons list?
Yeah.
Do you feel like that works for you?
Yeah.
Or that's helpful?
Yeah.
I
really do.
When was the last time you did one?
I don't think I've like written any out
Mm-hmm. Kind of
recently, but yeah, like I do them in my head. I'm like, I'm trying to think of a time I did it. Like recently.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a while.
Well, I guess
for me too.
Yeah, I guess I have done it. Trying to figure out if I should stay with my job or not,
Okay.
or like switch, because I work at the prison. I'm a correctional officer, and I'm thinking about going to do fire with wildland firefighting. And now I'm weighing out all these pros and cons. I'm like, if I stay, I could potentially get on the SWAT team at the prison,
Mm-hmm.
and they would train me in a certain in skills I would have never ever had, and that would be super applicable to things I want to do later on.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a sucky schedule. It's hard on my life, like my mental health sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like hard emotionally to stick with the prison. But like there's really good officers there that I'm really good friends with. I learn people skills. I learn how to talk to people that are horrible human beings. So like those are some pros, but like some of the cons are like I said earlier, like the schedule, the pay's not super good compared to what I could be paying at other agencies and departments. The time, the things, the stresses that I have to go through at the job. So I'm like weighing all those out. So I'm like, those are the pros and cons of staying. But if I leave and do fire, I'll learn a completely different skill. I'll be outside. I'll be working long hours, but it will be something that will be different from what I'm used to. I'll get to travel. But like the cons are, if I do fire, I will not be here. I'll be working all the time. I won't see anybody. I'll make money, I guess. So, I mean, I'm still trying to figure it out, but
Yeah.
like trying to make this decision is hard because it directly affects everything in my life. Because I stay, it will change me, who I am, and if I go, it will change me as well. So it's what's better for my situation now.
Right.
Like what will benefit me more, and it's hard to figure that out, especially with a decision like that when I support myself completely.
Something, because yeah, that's tough because they're both like great things.
Yeah.
And it's like what will be the most beneficial to you in your life long term,
Or
just
don't do it all.
Or go a completely different direction.
So, and that's another, like, I just quit.
Yeah, dude, in my opinion,
it's like, what do you do? And it's a hard decision. And I think a lot of us go through decisions like this all the time.
Yeah. For me, if a job is taking a toll on someone, like mentally, like if it's affecting your mental health, I would tell you what, just quit. There are so many jobs out there, especially today.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, that's tough. One thing I heard once, and I think I've done this before, but it's probably been a couple of years, when writing a pros and cons list, that's not always a fair thing to make a decision for you. Because if the cons for me moving out of state are, oh, I won't be able to see my family, I won't be able to, I don't know, I'll start over. What, so there's a lot of cons, and then there's a lot of pros.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes one pro is not equal to a con. Meaning,
What do you mean?
so like I was thinking about doing summer sales once. Okay, people were trying to like recruit me to go do it.
Wow.
And who knows? I might have done good. I did not go, but I was writing out a pros and cons
You
list.
lost your money, son. You would have been broke.
Maybe I had a lot of friends that I had friends that did really well, and some that did like they regretted it, like they wish they didn't have.
Because they lose money.
Yeah. So
Just the majority. My opinion.
I was thinking about doing that. Writing out the pros and cons list, and like a pro was I could potentially make $40,000. Con, I'm giving up my whole summer. I'm giving up like 3 or 4 months of my life. No vacations, no friends, no dating. Like I'm giving up the summer. So that pro, but I could also like make more money staying here. But that pro of potentially making 40 grand did not outweigh what was more important to me of like not being here to have those experiences. So that con would be, so I was taught to rate all the pros and cons. So the pro was maybe a 3, but that con I rated it like a 5 because I'm giving up my whole life and so many learning experiences and things I personally want to do to give that up.
Right.
So when writing out a pros and cons list, like rate them on a scale of like 1 to 5. How important is this thing to you? Because like one thing could be, oh, well, I'll get more tan if I'm outside all the time doing summer sales.
I need that, man. I'm white as a dude, straight up saltine cracker with weird brown spots.
Yeah. But I mean, that would be rated as a 1 because really, that doesn't like add that much to my life, especially the tan lines. Wouldn't like that. Take off the shirt, and then people are like, hey, take your shirt off. I'm like I did.
Tan? Dude, I rock that farmer's tan.
Yeah, dude.
I tell you, straight up.
Heck yeah, dude.
I don't know.
I get one every summer. I work outside.
Yeah, me too.
But I don't know. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. That does make sense. I've never thought about rating it.
Yeah.
I just sit there and think real hard about it
Mm-hmm.
for a long time, and then I'm like, then it comes to a peak, and I'm like, it comes to a point where I'm like, I need to make a decision, and I need to make it now. Like the time has come.
Yeah.
And then I make the decision, and it generally works out. But that's a good idea. I think that would help me make a decision.
Yeah.
Quicker.
Give it a shot.
Yeah, I might.
And maybe if you do it,
because I have to write
about it next.
I'm gonna have to write it down.
I think it like for me, it really gets me. I don't know, get my thoughts out of my head and down on paper or on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Really helps me like weigh out what I want and what direction to go. So yeah, I think it's good to get it outside of our head. I think that's why we enjoy talking to people so much about our problems, is because one, we get another perspective, but two, I don't know, I've been explaining things to people, and halfway through telling them my problem, I'm like, oh, I know the solution just from telling somebody it, just getting it out of my head, out of my mouth. I don't know if you've ever experienced that.
No, sure have.
Yeah.
All the time. Makes a little bit more sense when you say it out loud.
So what would you tell somebody who has no idea what they want in life?
What would I tell somebody?
They don't know what job they want. They don't know what they want in like a life partner. They don't know. They're kind of just not sure where to go.
First of all, I would say, me too. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm still figuring it out. And I think most of us are. It doesn't matter what age we are. We're still trying to figure out what we
True.
want. I think that's the battle of life.
So it's like okay to not know.
It's a battle of life. But the way I do it, when I tackle a job or I tackle a, whatever it is, I'm like, is the thing I'm getting now better than the thing that I had before?
Mm.
And so when it comes to a job, I've always thought, I've had a lot of jobs for being my age, and jobs in random, like farm stores, retail, like mail, like I've worked in a cubicle. I'm now a prison,
Mm-hmm.
and But I always think, like, is the job I'm getting, is it better than the one I had before? And is it, whether it be in pay, whether it be in time, whether it be in mental help or whatever. And it's like, because I want to take a step up every time I change. I'm not going to take a step down, because if I take a step down, I'm just lowering my standards than what they were before. And I'm not getting farther than I was. I'm not learning anything. So I made a personal decision when I was 16 at my first job. It's like, anything you do to change, any new job that you get, make sure it's better than the last. Make it a step up. It doesn't have to be a huge step, but it just has to be a step up, just a little bit. Because eventually, through that, you'll get somewhere you never thought you'd ever be. And that was because you never took a step down. So
It's that 1% better, just
yeah,
constant growth.
I guess so. But it's worked out, and I've done things and seen things that I would have never thought I'd ever see or do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just, I think, for that reason, it's kind of rooted because of that.
Yeah. So if someone doesn't know where they want, to summarize what you said, it's like wherever you're at,
Want
just
more.
kind of, want more. Move in a direction that is more. Like whether it be your job,
It better, yeah.
your fitness, relationships, just, yeah. Because I remember the story. It was like this man on a horse going through a forest, and it was like pitch black, or there was fog or whatever, but they couldn't see very far ahead of him. And so the man was like, "Oh, I don't know where to go." And the horse is like, "Oh, can you see like the next couple steps?" And he's like, "Yeah." It's like, "Well, just take those, and that'll get you that'll get you closer to where you eventually want to be. Because once you take those next few steps, then you can see the next steps after that." So I think there's a lot of power in just like starting. Like if you don't know what you want, just start something, because you'll learn really quick whether you like it, don't like it, whether it's helpful, not.
Yeah.
So just commit, start, give it a week or two, whatever it may be. And if you like it, keep going. If you don't, there's no rule in life that says you can't change the direction of your life.
And you'll find yourself in the right spot at the right time. Like, I mean, we're religious. Like, we believe in God,
Yeah.
but believe in higher power or whatever. Like, just whatever it is you believe in, or just energy. Doesn't matter. Like, you'll be placed exactly where you need to be, exactly when you need to be there. And there's I memorized a poem, and I'll say it.
Okay.
It's super
I'm
good.
excited. Let's hear it.
It's about, I'll say it and then we'll talk about it. Just tell me what you think. So it goes, "Father, where shall I work today?" And my love flowed warm and free. Then he pointed out a tiny spot and said, "Tend that for me." I answered quickly, "Oh no, not that. Why, no one would ever see. No matter how well my work was done, not that little place for me." He answered, no, his voice, it was not stern. He said, "Nazareth was a little place, and so was Galilee." So, what do you think?
Kind of sounds like sometimes our perspective might not, like whatever we're doing, it might not look great, might look small, but is it actually small? Is it, I don't know, kind of like maybe to someone else it won't look that way. Like you can still do great things starting from a small place.
Yeah.
I
So,
don't know.
well, I mean, actually, I missed a line in there too. Dadgummit. But that's okay.
Yeah.
He says, "Art thou working for them or for me? Nazareth was a little place, and so was Galilee." So it's your relationship with God, this guy's relationship with him. And God says, "Go there." And he says, "No." You know, see how puny and small and insignificant that is? He's like, "What the heck, man?"
You live in Galilee.
No. He's like, "What the heck, dude?" He's like, it's like, "It doesn't matter." He's like, "Well, I'm going to work." He's like, "It doesn't matter how well I'm going to work." He's like, "I'm going to work my butt off. And I'm like the greatest teacher. I'm like the greatest dude." He's like, "So are you working for me, or are you working for the other dude?" the guy the opposite of me. And then he says Nazareth was a little place, and so was Galilee, referring to Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Those are puny places on the map.
Right.
But here we are thousands of years later, and he's still changing the world and lives. Never really... Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So he's like, it doesn't matter where you're at. He's like, you'll still touch people's lives. It's like, just because you're in a small place doesn't mean you can't have a worldwide impact.
Totally. Well, and like, I don't know, like some people might see us doing this podcast and they're like, oh, whatever, you think you can make a difference, or you know, blah, 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 whatever people might think or say, which people have been very positive, and we appreciate that very much. But what I'm saying is, like, we know why we're doing it. We know why we started. And so really, it doesn't matter what the outside world thinks or what they say, because we know why we're doing it. We know what it's doing to us, what it can potentially do for our future. And people, you know, might not see the bigger picture that you see.
Yeah.
We might not even see the big picture. I feel like God sometimes just leads us in a direction. Things will start to happen. And
gotta do it.
we'll be able to look back and say, whoa, I now see why that all happened.
Mm-hmm. Kind of what we talked about it in one episode. I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah, we did. It was very similar to that, but
Yeah. Like everything makes sense.
I think it was about advice.
Yeah.
We were talking about.
And I think going back to like knowing what you want,
Mm-hmm.
where I said earlier, like sometimes when you look back, you realize that's really what you wanted. And so to
Mhm.
figure out where you're going, maybe you have to look back to where you've been.
Yeah.
And then you can figure out a more sure course.
Yeah. And it's crazy. When I look back, I see how every opportunity and every person I met led to the next one. And so it's just like, but like if I never would have started or taken different opportunities, I wouldn't have realized the places I could go and what I could accomplish. And I think every new thing we do, every time we try or learn a new skill, or, you know, just go to a new place, there's a little bit of confidence that comes with that too, because now we've experienced more. And I think that also makes it easier to make decisions about what we want and what to bring into our life. I don't know. Like doing this podcast, like I remember I had a friend who was like, you should come on my podcast. And I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, okay, I'll do it. But like, I was like, kind of, we hadn't even scheduled a date. It never happened. But I was like, kind of getting nervous before even getting there.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if she would invite me now, since I've already done this and I've been here, I've spoken into the microphone, I've hit the record button and just spilled my thoughts out, I would have a lot more confidence moving forward and trying different things and experiencing new people, new thoughts. I don't even know where I was going with that, but
No, it was good.
Yeah.
It was good. Just that experience you're figuring out. I don't know. It gives you that newly found confidence in yourself
Yeah.
that you never had before. And all because you did something different. And you're
Mhm.
figuring out more of what you want in your life.
I
And
feel
more
like,
of how to do it.
I think a lot of what we've talked about, like in our past episodes, everything kind of links together.
Yeah, I agree, actually.
And I
Kind of
think,
weird.
yeah, I know. But I feel like it all comes down to confidence in a way. Because when when I don't know what I want or where I'm going, I don't feel confident. I'll move very slowly. But if I know exactly where I'm going and I know the exact next step I want to take, I feel good. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this because I know
There's
that'll
no
give me the result
hesitation.
I want.
Yeah, there's no hesitation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, confidence makes it easier to move forward in life, in dating, in business,
Make decisions,
to make
make goals, be true to yourself. Like it
And
all ties together.
it all does. Yeah.
So it's hard to talk about one thing and not bring up another. Especially now, things that we've talked about. I feel like
Yeah.
we reiterate a lot of things, but just
That's-
like you said, they're just tied together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's stuff we're both passionate about. So
Right. Because I feel like when it comes to, your own personal growth and development, it's kind of like a pie. And there's a lot of different ingredients to make that pie or to build confidence, And you got to take all these different ingredients in. And when you start adding different stuff, it changes the flavor of it. And you add some things in and it can taint it. You add too much salt. If all you do is work out and you don't work on your mental health, you don't work on relationships, it's going to taste bad.
Meathead.
So it's a balance of everything that's good in your life that will eventually build this confidence in you and ultimately give you the life you want to lead.
And you'll figure out what you want.
Exactly. You'll figure out what you want because you're confident. It's like a pie. Just put all the pieces together and you'll be like, this is good. Life is good.
Make sure it's good pie.
Make sure it's apple pie with ice cream on top.
That's a biased opinion.
That is a biased opinion.
You're wrong.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you want to, any last nuggets that you want to share or that you think that's been rolling through your brain that you haven't already shared?
Yeah. Man, if someone gives you an opportunity to meet new people or to, I don't know, to go try out a new job or, if there's anything new that comes in your life and someone offers you it and you have the time, try it. Because you'll learn whether you like that or not. Because I think a lot of times I've been invited to parties or I've been invited to activities and I haven't done it before. Or maybe I'm insecure about something that stops me. And that holds me back. That keeps me small. And when we go out there and do new things, try new things, meet new people, we realize more on who we are, what we want, and where we're going. So, say yes. Be a yes man or woman. Yep. What about you? Any last words? Give us some wisdom, Adam. Or if you
Be a good dude.
Be a good dude.
Be a good dude. Be a good girl, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know. Good gal. Just, I don't know.
I have a question, actually.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, if someone wants something in their life, and I think I just forgot my question, but if someone wants something in life and they're not getting it, they know where they want to go and they're not going there, like what can they do to change their circumstances? So
what can they do to do it?
yeah, like what I'm thinking
get
right
it?
now is like, I guess I know some people who like they hardly smile or they hardly have like a very uplifting energy about them. Like they're pleasant to be around, but sometimes like I hardly see them smile or hardly hear them get excited about anything.
Oh, that hurts my soul.
I know.
You're talking about me.
Definitely not about you. But like, I guess what I'm saying is if things aren't coming into your life, like what you want's not coming to your life, there's things, I think that's an inner, like look inwards to figure out why things aren't coming to you.
So what's your question?
Yeah, I basically answered my own question.
Yeah, I was like, what is he?
What are some ways people can elevate themselves to the level of the things they want in their life?
So if they don't have what they want, so they know what they want and they want it,
and it's not
but
coming.
then they don't do anything to get it.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, well, this sucks.
Right.
I think it's all, it's all in our hands. I think what I've been learning recently is like, if we want something, we have a huge influence in it. Like, this sounds kind of silly to say, but like, I have a huge influence in the way my life goes. And I forget that. I forget that my life is primarily controlled by me. And if I don't have what I want, or if I'm not happy, it's because of me. And it's really easy to forget that and put yourself in a pity party and blame it all on everybody else and everything else that's happening around you. And my job sucks. My girlfriend hates me. My car is crappy, like a piece of junk, and then we get ourselves in this huge, giant pool of self-wallow and doubt. And we think, well, I can't control anything. I'm worthless. And then we have absolutely nothing. And we don't even have happiness. And I forget that all the time.
Yeah.
And I get in these moods. It's my parents call it, they're like, you get real melancholy. And it's true.
Melancholy.
I just get kind of sad for no reason. And it's like, but then I have to remember, like, I'm sad because I want to be sad. And I won't be sad if I don't want to be sad.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm sad, I need to figure out why I'm sad and then change it and do something. Whether that be, I'm not taking myself out. Like I say that, like I take myself out on dates. Like I have a good time by myself. And I think we all need that. I need that. So treat yourself like, I don't know.
Yeah.
If you're sad, you're probably choosing to be sad, but you probably don't know that. So figure out what's making you sad and then fix that, and then you'll want to be happy. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. I think one of the highest forms of maturity is taking full responsibility of your life. If something didn't work out, a job, relationship, take full responsibility for that. Like other people have parts to play, but you also chose to be in that relationship.
Yeah,
you chose to get that job. If they fired you, you chose that job.
Mm-hmm.
You chose to maybe not operate at the level they were hoping. You chose not to ask if there's more you could do to level up, to be more valuable to the company.
Yeah, I think the majority of the things that happen in our lives that are bad, like, are not self-inflicted, but we played a huge part in it.
Yeah.
And sometimes when we go, well, that wasn't me. I mean, I think that's wrong. I think sometimes things happen, like if you get hit by a car when you're just driving, that wasn't you.
Right. Well, you chose to get in the car. You chose to start it. You chose to take that road.
I mean, but that's a little bit of a stretch, though.
Maybe.
Like if you're just going out to Walmart and someone just T-bones you and you just get, you know?
Sure. I guess what I'm getting
and you were
at,
following the laws.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not your fault.
Right.
It's the other guy's fault. But
Right.
like other things than that.
Right. I think what I'm getting at is just like, don't have a victim mentality that
Yeah.
everything is someone else's responsibility. Like if someone does T-bone you, hit you, like, yeah, you didn't choose for them to hit you. We do get to choose how we feel about it, how we act. If someone hits you and you get out and beat them up and go to jail, that is your fault for losing your cool, for
So don't victimize
stepping out.
yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. So no victimization of yourself.
Because if there's something that's out of our control, we do get to control what we do about it.
Like it's okay to be a victim, and sometimes we are a victim, but to be a victim in everything
Mm-hmm.
is just not the case.
Right.
We are the perpetrators sometimes. And
So,
once
yeah.
we accept that, I think it makes a whole lot more sense.
I think it's hard to swallow a lot of times. Like,
Yeah.
Man.
It's a giant pill to swallow.
yeah, like I think back.
It hurts.
I think back to relationships I've been in that didn't work out like years ago. And I think at the time I was like, oh, like they messed up. They did things wrong. And, thinking back now, it's like, well, I did choose to be in that relationship. I chose to date that person. I chose to act this way because of what they did. I chose not to invest, which will lead to whatever. So I think, yeah, there's just a lot of power that comes to me taking like full responsibility. But yeah, they're all like, we don't control other people's actions.
Yeah.
That's not,
This
I'm
is
not
a whole
saying
other
that at all.
topic for another day.
Yep.
But hopefully you took something from this
Yeah.
about our discussion, loose
I feel
discussion
good.
about figuring out what you want,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden switched into self-victimization and getting hit by cars and
Yeah.
being the perpetrator.
Yeah, I think it's all just like
Yeah, hopefully-
knowing what you want,
Yeah.
and things happen in life
hopefully
when going for it.
Hopefully you got something
There are
from
obstacles.
it. And well, thanks for joining us. We have Instagram, we have Facebook and YouTube. And
We
give us a
officially
like and a follow.
we officially got it uploaded to Apple Podcasts.
Oh, that's
now.
right. So if you don't like Spotify or Stitcher,
I think
which who knows what Stitcher is?
are we on? I think we're on Google Podcasts, Amazon. I don't know if we're on Amazon yet, but we're working
Yeah,
on
we're
it.
not on Amazon, but we are on Apple.
I'll figure
So
that out.
go check us out and give us a share. If you like something from it, go share it with a buddy or a friend, or just talk about it, chit chat with somebody about it. Yeah, it's a party. We love doing it.
Fun.
So
Yeah, and I think it's a lot of fun doing it, and we're doing it because we want to. But it's a lot more rewarding when we hear other people like it and
Yeah.
they're gaining things from it.
yeah,
So
It's really cool
feedback
to
is
hear.
awesome.
well, thanks for joining us today. We'll see you guys later.
See ya.
See you.